Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Amma ba'd, rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to Halal Talks, and inshallah we did our last session with Sheikh Huzaifah. We on seeking knowledge, and alhamdulillah Sheikh informed us of many things with regards to seeking knowledge, the benefit of seeking knowledge, and from where to seek the knowledge as well. So we thought, like, if we have time, we will continue as a second part, and inshallah we thought, like, just to save our time while we were going somewhere, so we can do it from the car, inshallah. So Sheikh, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, inshallah. Good weather. Like UK, right?
I like UK, yeah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. We will just continue from where we stopped last time, and in that, there was one point we discussed, and I would like if you can just emphasize more on that. You mentioned about sticking to one ustad, and we were about to touch the Aqidah part as well. So can you please tell us, like, when we look for any ustad, or let's say like an online ustad, what important things are there? Like, how would we know that which ustad is the right one?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. So in regards to a teacher, and which type of teacher should a person be looking for, what are the qualities in a teacher that a person should look for, then Sheikh Salih Al-Usaymi hafidhahullah, he mentions this in his book Ta'zeem al-Ilm, the glorification of knowledge, which is a very important book for a beginner to study. It's a summarized book in regards to the etiquette of seeking knowledge and the principles and how to seek knowledge. And these books are very important for a student of knowledge to go through. There's many other books like Hilyatu Talib al-Ilm, the beautification or the adornment of a student of knowledge by Sheikh Bakr Abu Zaid, and others. However, they're a bit longer. So Ta'zeem al-Ilm is a good one to start with. It's a small book, relatively compared to these bigger ones. So it's a good one to start off with. And if you want to start off with the Hilyatu Talib al-Ilm as well, that's no problem. However, in this book, the Sheikh, he mentions one of the principles of, within one of the principles, I can't remember which number it was, maybe number 5, regarding how to seek knowledge. He mentions 2 points. The second point was regards to the teacher, that when it comes to seeking knowledge, you have to study with a teacher. And he mentions in there 2 main characteristics of a teacher, and these 2 are basically 2 of the main characteristics that a person should be looking for in a teacher, and they are quite broad and quite vast, and a number of things come under them. And I'll just summarize them by saying that what he meant, because within them a number of points come as well, so I'll just summarize them in my own words, inshallah. He mentions that firstly, the teacher has to be qualified. The teacher has to be qualified. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ, that knowledge is only gained through ta'allum. Ta'allum means that you go, you sit with a teacher, you memorize, you revise, you travel if you're able to, you are tested, and so on. Not somebody who sits behind just a screen studying, or not somebody who just watches videos, or somebody who's only done self-reading, but somebody who's gone and studied with the ulama, with the scholars, and their teachers have given them permission to teach. In other words, they are qualified. Just like in any other field, you would only go to somebody who's got a degree, because that degree, even though, alhamdulillah, my master's was in education, so even though within those circles they argue about the importance of a degree, because now many jobs, they realize that even those that have degrees, there's some deficiency in there, and they don't really know how the skills and don't have experience, and so on. And there's a lot of discussion. But generally, what is the point? If somebody has a degree, their seem to be more qualified than somebody who doesn't. Why? Because that is a proof that somebody's gone, he's studied, he's revised, he's passed the exams, and so on. Generally, right? So likewise, somebody who's gone from Madinah University, it's generally a sign. It's important to mention that maybe sometimes some students do waste their time. Maybe they had easy exams and so on. But generally, it's a sign that they are qualified. Or if they studied with some ulama, they are, and those ulama give information, they are qualified to teach. So the main thing is that they are qualified. So that is the first. That you don't go to anyone who's just got a number of followers. Followers doesn't mean that a person is qualified. I think before I give an example of a doctor, and if you had a heart operation, would you go to the student who's making TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram videos with 1 million followers, or would you go to that doctor who doesn't even have social media but he has 30 years of experience? Without a doubt, you'll go to the doctor because it's a heart transplant. So when it comes to the religion, the doctor, he focuses on the physical heart, but the religion focuses more on the spiritual heart, which is more important. اليوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. That on the day of judgment, nothing will benefit a person, nor their wealth, nor their children, except the one who comes with a sound heart, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. So the first thing is that a person has to be qualified. So go to those who are qualified. And generally, those who are older in age are better than those who are younger, generally speaking. And the second thing is, the Shaykh calls it al-ikhlas. Al-ikhlas basically means that a person, the teacher, he wants good for you and he gives you what you need, not what you know. And he doesn't just give you that which gets him views, or that which topic sounds nice, and that which is like considered a heart reminder, it's a reminder, heart softener. But it's things that you need. It's things that you need on a day-to-day basis. Those things which are obligatory upon you to know. Things which will benefit you in your dunya and in the akhirah. And not only that, but he knows how to teach as well. He knows when to give you so much and when not to give you, when to mention something, when not to mention something. So, these are the main two characteristics that he mentioned: al-ahliyya wal-ikhlas. That a person is qualified and a person has sincerity. Also within sincerity, another point which comes under this is that he is a good role model for you to follow. That comes under that point as well. And the main thing is his aqeedah. That his aqeedah is sound for you to follow. And it's not from Ahlul Bid'ah. As Ahlul Bid'ah, many of the ulama say it's not permissible. Some ulama have allowed it with certain conditions, in certain circumstances, where maybe there's no one else you can learn from at all, and there's a need, and that person doesn't call to his bid'ah and he won't tell you. But that's a separate topic. Some ulama allow it, but generally the ulama say no, Ahlul Bid'ah is not allowed.
Is the most important thing aqeedah?
The most important thing is the aqeedah, and then also the mannerisms and conduct after that as well. That he's not somebody who just says something and does something different, but he practices that knowledge. And we mentioned, I think yesterday in Humari Ustad, how Imam Ahmed, 5,000 people would attend his lessons, only 500 would write. The remainder would be benefiting from his mannerisms and conduct. So etiquette is something very, very important. Yusuf ibn Hussein rahimahullah, he said, bil adabi tafhamul ilm. That through these etiquettes will you truly understand knowledge. And without these etiquettes, you won't understand knowledge. Nor will you gain the thamara of knowledge, the fruits of knowledge. And why do you learn knowledge? Not to narrate. Ibn Mas'ud said, لَيْسَ الْعِلْمُ بِكَثْرَةِ الرِّوَايَةِ وَلَكِنَ الْعِلْمُ الْخَشْيَةِ. Knowledge isn't narrating a lot of narrations, but knowledge is having the khashya of Allah, the fear of Allah. So the thamara of knowledge is, the fruit of knowledge is to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these things are very important to keep in mind, that you don't pick any random person or any person who has a certain number of followers. Nowadays, somebody's famous, khalas, they study from that person. Somebody's got less followers, they don't give that person respect. And that, in no science is that ever is any measuring stick for anyone's success. The only time it's a measuring stick if maybe a pop star or something in those type of fields, which is not what we want. But any serious field of knowledge, that has never been a measuring stick of of anybody. So this is very important, these 2 points that Sheikh Usaimi mentioned.
You know, the last point which you mentioned regarding the followers, it's a very big problem. You know,
Very big problem.
In YouTube, subhanAllah, like just because of the followers, and you know, like if a person he don't have any knowledge about Islam, he will just look at the followers and he will accept everything coming from him. Because he will think that when millions of people are watching him, how can he lie or how can he be wrong? So that's what the people think.
Yeah, I mean, look at Imam Malik rahimahullah, who was the Imam of Medina at the time. People would travel the world just to meet him and to travel to him. What did he say? He said every single person's statement is accepted or rejected. Guys, people could say right things, people could say wrong things, except for the one in this grave. And he was pointing to the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the only one that spoke the truth and didn't make mistakes in conveying the religion. As for everybody else, I could say things that are wrong. That's why looking at these qualities is very important, because it's more likely for a person to make less mistakes with these qualities. If he's qualified, study with the ulama, he's more sincere and so on, he's more likely to make less mistakes than a person who just have followers. And followers is a big fitna for a person. It makes a person insincere. He does things just for the followers, just for the numbers, and so on. Imam Malik also says, إنما أنا بشر, I am just a human. أخطئ وأصيب, I am right and wrong. فانظروا في رأيي, so look at my opinions. فما وافق الكتاب والسنة فخذوه, whatever corresponds and is in line with the Quran and Sunnah, take it. وما لم يوافق الكتاب والسنة فاتركوه, and whatever does not correspond or is not in line with the Quran and the Sunnah, then leave it. So like you mentioned, followers is a big fitna, especially nowadays with social media, and it's something that we have to be very wary about, because at the end of the day, this is our religion. Even Imam Muslim, he narrates in the beginning, in the Muqaddimah, his introduction of Sahih Muslim, the statement of Ibn Sirin rahimahullah, إن هذا العلم دين فانظروا عمن تأخذون دينكم. The very this knowledge that we are talking about, deen is your religion. فانظروا عمن تأخذون دينكم. So look at whom you take your religion from.
Subhanallah. You know, the scholars, you know, they were scholars, and they used to be so humble that like they used to say like, we are just human, we can make mistakes. And I was thinking, you know, now on YouTube, you know, some of the YouTubers, you know, so-called, you know, da'is, if they make mistake, and any person with knowledge is actually trying to rectify him, so he's not accepting his mistake, you know, hardly few they accept it, otherwise they make me video against them. And it's all, you know, the backfiring is there. Subhanallah.
Subhanallah. There's one story, I'm forgetting who it is. I don't know, was it Imam Shafi'i or somebody else, or was it Daraqutni? I can't remember the names. This is probably the only time this has ever happened in a debate. Both of them, these two ulama, I can't remember. If I remember, ask me later and I'll try to find out. There were two ulama from the Salaf. They came to debate, and he had one opinion and the other had the other opinion. But look at their love for each other and their sincerity in trying to find the truth. They both left taking the opinion of the other person. Subhanallah. Yeah, normally if anything happens, okay, one person takes the opinion of the other. But no, this one, he took the opinion of the other person and he changed his opinion for the other person. So yeah, that's how the Salaf, that's how the ulama rahimahullah were. Look at Umar radiallahu anhu. If somebody was to correct him, he would be the first to repent and you know, rectify his opinions and what he said, and yeah, that's how the Salaf were.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. We need to, you know, look at this, read the stories of the Salaf, obviously coming from the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, and we need to, not only us, like, and our children as well, we need to tell them these stories. Many times, you know, in schools, you know, what old stories, you know, old lies, the teachers they teach, and even at home, the parents, they are just telling them, you know, the bedtime stories. But I think we need to teach our kids these stories. You know, this will not only motivate them, but they're real things. They will really learn something, inshallah. When it comes to reading the books, can you tell us, you know, you see, like now we are far from reading the books, you know? So, how can one person, build a habit of reading, or how to read a book in general, like in any Islamic book?
No. So with this, firstly, the first word revealed to the Prophet ﷺ was Iqra, was read. So we are a nation of Ummatu Iqra. We are a nation of reading, and not blind following, not dopamine hits of 30-second videos. Because that's what's happened. As for reading, people don't read. But the reality is people do read. They read their text messages. They read Facebook posts. They read comments.
True.
So they do read.
Yeah.
But the question is, what do they want to read? When they go work, especially admin work and things, when there's a lot of reading involved, people read.
Yes.
I'm surprised, subhanAllah, that some of their work is a lot of paper. When it comes to that stuff, I turn off a bit, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be reading any of that stuff. It's like terms and conditions. Have you read terms? I never read it. I should do. It's a mistake on my behalf. But the point being is that some people, lawyers, to read all of that stuff because they have to, because it's legal things and so on. People do read, but the question is, what are they reading? And are they reading that which is beneficial, or are they reading that which is non-beneficial? So reading is very important. And how to read, my advice, without mentioning too many things, is to start off with a book, maybe a book club with some friends. That's one thing that helped me in the beginning, and that's what I'm doing right now with some of my Arabic students. I've got Arabic book club to get them into the habit of reading Arabic books. So you just get a book, simple book, and we just said, okay, every week we're going to read this amount. So right now the Arabic book club, we only started a month ago, just before I came to Kuwait. So we've been carrying it on here, alhamdulillah. And all it's that I send 20 pages to read a week. So that works out to be 4 pages a day. 5 days you finish, 2 days rest. Or 5 pages a day, it's 4 days, 3 days rest, revision, or whatever, or you could do 10 pages in 2 days. Whenever, you have a whole week. It's up to you how you want to spend that week.
Just read it?
Just reading the book. Okay. We chose a book that I've already explained. So I've explained it. We chose Usul al-Thalatha, Sheikh Fawzan's explanation, because I've already explained the book. So a lot of my students know what's inside the book. And Sheikh Fawzan's Arabic is one of the easiest. And the way he explains is very easy, and he repeats points, and he expands on points without making it too technical. That's just 3 types, this is this type, just. So we chose that book, and all they do, they read. We have a WhatsApp group. Any questions, they can ask in the WhatsApp group. I try not to answer. I try to make the other students answer. And then what happens is, once a week we get together and I summarize what we have read, and they have any other questions they ask. So you can do something like that, because I used to do things like that, and what happened was 20 pages a week in the English book. Within a few months we finished. I think we did 30 in English. I can't remember how many. 20, 30. In a few months, we finished voluminous books. It's just about consistency, and you get into the habit, and slowly you read more, and you get into it. So, as the Prophet ﷺ said, أحب الأعمال إلى الله أدومها وإن قل. The most beloved actions to Allah are those which are continuous, even if they are little, because they are the ones that truly benefit a person. Those small, continuous acts. As for big acts, reading 100 pages in one day, of course you're going to burn out and not read again, and you're going to forget you've taken too much at one time. So that would be my advice in terms of reading. Also, try to be around those that know their books and can tell you about books, because that, it places the love of books in a person's heart. Me in the beginning, I was overwhelmed with books. I don't know which books. There's so many books, and I kept asking people, how do you know about books? And learning about books and attaining buying books, how do you buy all these books? It's not something that comes overnight. It's not something that you can learn just overnight, but it's something which it grows through your journey of seeking knowledge. Slowly. First you learn about the basic books, and then you expand. Likewise, the books that you buy, your library expands, and so on. So, for example, I remember when I first started, I couldn't even. This is how many books that I had. That's it. But now, alhamdulillah, got a lot more than that now, alhamdulillah. So
like
No.
this reading circle. Subhanallah, like I was in Medina a few weeks back. I had some Medina University friends there, so they mentioned the same thing. You know, they were doing the same thing, but not like giving someone, but every day they used to meet like for 20 minutes, half an hour, and they used to sit together and one person read one page, the other person read the other
No,
page.
that's another thing.
That's like a circle, and then they discuss if there's anything that they used to discuss.
That's also another. So
This is good thing as well.
group reading, that's good.
Yeah.
No.
But the point is, we have to do something.
Point is, start something small
start
and
something, yeah.
be consistent. It makes it easier. I mean, this is generally with anything. When you go gym,
Yeah.
you can tell. You probably know about gym.
Kitchen gym.
Kitchen gym. No, but in gym, yeah, you don't start off with 100 kilos straight away. You start with something small and slowly. Even me, when it came to seeking knowledge, I think I've mentioned this before. When I went to Medina, I was 16 at the time, and I used to study in the morning in the uni. And after Isha, I used to go Masjid Nabi. As for after Isha and weekends, my chill time. Yeah, 16-year-old, I was chilling. And then slowly, time went on. I added Saturdays. Saturdays I used to study as well. So Friday was the only day off.
Okay.
Fridays and after Isha, every day.
Okay.
Because what we used to do is, obviously we were there by ourselves, we didn't really cook, so we used to just get together and go out to eat or whatever. And obviously after the whole day of studying, you're tired. But then I did a Saturday. But then slowly, I did Friday as well.
Oh, smart.
So it became 7 days a week. And then towards the end of my time, after Isha was added as well. And before it was, the point being is that there was some days I did after Isha, but slowly it was added and it became normal. Like it wasn't too much for me. It just became normal. And in the beginning, Friday sometimes I would just go Masjid Nabi, not take any book with me, and just relax. It's my time just to relax. But then later on, I don't like it if I'm just sat there doing nothing. Now I just don't like it. I always take a book with me. Generally, that if I go anywhere without anything in my hands, I feel weird. Why is there nothing in my hand? So I take a book. Sometimes I go to a place and I don't read the book. I don't get time. But sometimes there are times where, subhanallah, there was a graduation ceremony of one of my friends in Markaz al-Thaqafi. I went there, and you know these ceremonies, a lot of it was just general speech. Alhamdulillah, I took a book with me. I read 30 pages. Just sat there, quite fiqh. I just read. And when there's something interesting, I paid attention. So a few times they showed a few interesting things, so I closed the book and I listened. But sometimes when it was just general speech and so on, I started reading the book. So it just comes with practice and time, inshallah. And without that, a person can read, and reading has so many benefits. I think now the main benefit of reading is that you're not glued to your phone. Because you're not glued and you're not always looking at your phone. I think if that is the only benefit, I mean there's so many others, but I think now if that is the only benefit, then that's such a big benefit, because now we are just glued to our phones 24/7. So if we can at least get our minds, take it out of the world of the phone and open the world of the books, that's a great achievement, and it expands your thinking. You learn a lot more, and so on. So reading is very important, and there are books on this. There are books on how to read and so on. I just remember you asked about how to read as well, and I would say the first thing is choosing the correct book, and maybe later on we can speak about which books to buy and so on. But then also to acknowledge that books are different. Not every single book is a book that you read from beginning to end.
Just like the teacher is
Just like the teacher now. There are some books that you don't read. But then even from the books that are good books, not every single book you read from beginning to end. There are some books which are reference books. And I'd only go to them if I need a reference. It would be good if I could read them. Like Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba. I'll be honest, I've not read them. But if I need a certain issue, okay, I need to know what the Sahaba said regarding this fiqh issue, so then I'll open that book and so on. And there are some books that you just read. There are some books that you read and you can make a few notes and so on. There are some books that you can read and you summarize. There are some books that you read properly, because these are books that you study, like Rasulullah. You read again and again, and you summarize and you highlight and so on. So to know which book is which is very important. And then knowing which book is which, then you just do what you need to do.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
What do you like reading from a hard copy or from?
Not me a hard copy. PDF. No. What I try to do is that if there is a PDF, if it's not too big, I try to print it out. I don't like looking at the screen. I like the physical copy. I like writing. I like highlighting. And some of my books, if you look, there's a lot of highlighting. But I have my own way of highlighting. I try to highlight in a way where if I read the book a second time, I only read the highlighted area. So it saves me a lot of time in reading. And people have different ways of highlighting, and I just use two main colors. Two colors, two main colors, mainly green and yellow. But it depends what I have. One is for the green is for the main titles and main things, so they stand out a lot more. And yellow is everything else. Yeah, that's just me. Every single, so a lot of people ask me how do you take notes, and every single person is different. I mean, there are certain things that you focus on a lot more: definitions, types, rulings, proofs. These are things that you. As for the explanation or something, you don't me really to highlight. That's something you understand, right? So if I read a certain concept, I should know what that is. But that concept I highlight, so it sticks out on the page, right? We also talked about this, and then you talked about this. Summarizing helps me a lot. If I read a big book, especially in fiqh and so on, sometimes when we studied comparative fiqh, for example, one issue could have 4 different opinions. Sometimes 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, but let's just say 4. And then that is mentioned by the author in 20 different pages. And the author has mentioned 20 pages worth of explanation, or sometimes more, on one mas'ala. Now imagine you studying 10 masail, 200 pages. To revise 200 pages is long, so what I like to do is summarize. I try to half a page or 1 page if needed, summarize each mas'ala. So it's 4 opinions. I sometimes draw a tree diagram: 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's the opinion? Who said it? What's the main dalil? That's the main summary. So now when I revise, instead of reading 200 pages, I just have to read 20 pages or 10 pages. Just to help me revise. And if I don't understand anything, or I need to, I don't understand, because I've obviously summarized. If I don't understand it, then I can go back to the book. That's one thing that helped me a lot, especially for my exams. Especially, that's 200 pages. Imagine you have 1,000 pages.
So you read a book and you summarize it.
I summarize it. And the main books that I need to memorize things from, and I need to really engrave, I try to summarize. Because by summarizing, you can only summarize by understanding fully. If you don't understand it, you can't summarize. And then writing it as well, your hand is writing, that's another part of your body that you're using. You can visually see your writing, and so on. That also engraves it in your mind a lot more. Then when you are revising, it's a lot less to revise. So I found summarizing for me was something that helped me a lot.
No, this new thing is the Kindle. I don't know, new for me.
Yeah.
They say it's like like a hard copy.
It's I think brother Subhani, for example, he has something similar.
Is it Kindle? I think it's something else.
Well, he has
writing,
something, for writing.
Yeah.
Well, look, so for some people it might be okay.
Kindle is there are books already, Islamic books there.
No. So it's a reading device.
You're reading the device.
Yeah.
I think you can mark as well.
Maybe. I mean, look, sometimes if I got some PDFs which are really long, the Sheikh sends me a 3,000 book I have to read. I can't print it out, and maybe I can't find a copy of that book, or buying it is too expensive. Then I'll have to read, and then of course you use. But I just find it a lot. I just find it doesn't be engraved in my mind a lot more, because every page is on one place. Whereas in a book, you can see which left side, right side, whereabouts, beginning of the book, end of the book. It's like memorizing the Quran. I don't know anyone who memorizes the Quran from a
Kindle or something.
Yeah. Because when you if I was to recite the Quran, I know it's on this side of the page, this, and so on. So that visual thing really helps. But maybe it works for some people. But me personally, and majority of the serious Tulab al-Ilm that I know, they have the hard copies, and they buy them. And sometimes if needed, then we have Shamila, for example, as well. Maktaba Shamila. Yeah. And so it's fine to use it, but as your foundation and your base, then no.
Just one thing came into my mind regarding marking and this whole. Can we mark on the Quran if someone's memorizing the Quran?
No. This was an issue that I've spoken to a number of Mashaykh about, who specialize in Quran. And the conclusion that I've come to is it is permissible, because many things are added into the Quran already. Even ilm al-dabt, which is the dots and the harakat, the dots and harakat, that's not from the Quran.
Yes.
Ilm al-rasm, that's from the Quran, the way the words are written. Ilm al-dabt is not from the Quran, that's ijtihadi and added in later by the ulama, Abu al-Aswad Du'li and so on from the tabi'in. So if they've added that in, they've added that in for a reason, right? So, but the point is that they've added something in. So likewise, I would say is that it's permissible. Even now when you open the Mus'haf, it has things on the sides and so on.
Yeah.
But I would say out of respect of the Quran, and here we're talking about somebody's own personal Quran, not a Quran which will be used for everybody, because that's something different. Because now a person could think that it's from the Quran. A person, if it's like a general Mus'haf in the masjid that everyone uses, not in that. Now when it comes to authoring the Quran or things like that, then no. But your own personal Quran to write so that you can learn, and so that you can, maybe you're making a certain mistake, so you highlight that mistake. To do with a pencil, maybe a little highlight. And if you can't, try not to do it in the actual wording, maybe do it on the sides. No problem, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And this is something which many of those who memorize Quran all do this. And if you're making a mistake, how are you going to remember what the mistake is? So you make a little mark on the side without. Okay, there are some people that might go overboard and making a lot of mess. You shouldn't be making a mess. Have respect for the Quran. But if it's your own personal Quran, where you are learning from, just to help you learn, then inshallah it is permissible.
Inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. I think it's we had a good touch on the Aqidah of the teacher and the readings, which books to read. Not exactly which books.
No,
but
maybe one just last quick point.
Yeah.
Is the fact that from Shaykh Huzaifah that I heard from one of his lectures, called Humum Talib al-Ilm, the worries of the student of knowledge, and he answers one of the questions of which books to buy. Okay. Now I can't mention to you which books exactly to buy, because even in one science they differ. Maybe I'll say Usul al-Thalatha and other ulama will differ. But he mentions in which books to buy 4 main principles. The first books to buy are those books that you study with the teacher. If you got Dars in Usul al-Thalatha, buy Usul al-Thalatha. Or the Shaykh tells you buy this book, that this is a reference for like, not the big books, but this is the main explanation that I'm using and so on. Buy that book, but it's no problem. So the books that you study, you buy those first. Then after that, you buy the main sources of Islam, the foundational books of Islam, Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, Nisa'i, in fiqh, whichever fiqh you are studying, those main books. In Arabic language, the main books, maybe start with Al-Ajurumiyya, Mutammat Al-Ajurumiyya, Alfiyat ibn Malik, and these main books that are from the foundation of Islam, buy them. Then after that, after buying the foundational books of Islam, which are known as Ummahatul Kutub or Ummahatul Kutub, then you buy other important books after that. There might be certain sciences, certain books that ulama recommend more. They're not the primary sources of the religion, from the time of the Salaf, but books of Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qayyim, and books which are still very important. And then number 4, he mentions khalas. Once you've got all the main books now that you need. So to complete your maktaba, to complete your library, then what to do is separate different sciences. Focus on one science at a time. Focus on Aqidah, and then just buy all the books that you need in Aqidah. Then move on to fiqh and buy all the books that you need in fiqh. And then move on to hadith and buy all the books that you need in hadith. And then move on to tafsir. Whichever order you want to do it in. And with that, that's how your library will be completed. So he mentions these 4 principles in how to buy these books.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah. Park the car as well.
Yeah. There's just one last thing, regarding the foundational books, these say Bukhari and all.
No.
We should be reading these books with the teacher, right?
Oh, of course.
Not just like any person just open.
No. You should, studying with a teacher is very important. And if it's a general storybook or something that you can read yourself, and maybe flicking through Bukhari here and there, it's good for a Muslim but to properly understand, because maybe you'll misunderstand. One story of Amr Bahjat, he mentioned how there's this person reading a book and he read the hadith, the command of killing dogs. So what he does, because he wants to do amal bil ilm, he wants to act upon knowledge, goes out, kills every single dog. Then he comes the next day, next chapter, what has been narrated regarding the abrogation of killing dogs, and he's not allowed to kill dogs anymore. So without a teacher, you're not going to know those. That's just a simple example, but it's a very important study with the teacher, without a doubt, to understand them properly. Because there's hadith, it's Sahih Bukhari, but there might be another hadith in Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, or not even in 6 books. It might be in Hakim, or it could be in Ibn Hibban, or it could be by Tabarani, which explain the meaning of this hadith, or show that it is abrogated, or show that it is only in certain circumstances. So if you don't study with a teacher, you're going to misunderstand it, and that could cause more harm than good. That's why the ulama, they mentioned that don't learn from somebody who just reads books, nor from a person who just reads the Quran by himself without reciting to a teacher. Why? Because they're going to make more mistakes than they do that which is correct.
Jazakumullah khair. We reached to our destination as well. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah feek for your time. Inshallah, we'll catch you again.
Inshallah.
Khair. We end on this, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.